Why hello friends, it's Kylie back with you today, otherwise known as Paper Sweetpea, and I am an independent creative memories advisor from Australia. When I got up today, I was just in a creative mood and wanted to do some scrapbooking but had no plan for what I wanted to create. So I thought it would be fun to film a little scrap with me video with no plan, so that you can follow along and just see how I've brought my page together and the thought process that I had behind it. It is a formula I have used once or twice before. You may recognize the basic layout of the page, but it's always fun to mix things up and use different collections to achieve different results. All of the products that I'm using today are of course by Creative Memories, and if you are in Australia and are interested in any of the products that I'm using today, I have linked everything below this video for you. But for now, let's just get straight into it. Okay, as I said, I've gone and pulled a few supplies that I may or may not use. I've got my bumblebee and my 5-leaf punch, which I think might come in handy for what I've got in mind. And I've also got my picket fence border maker cartridge. Now, if you know me and know me well, you know that this is one of my all-time favorites. I love it as well because when you first purchase the original border maker system from Creative Memories, so that's your housing bracket as well as the paper bracket as well, you get this border maker cartridge for free, and you also get to choose a second cartridge for free. So this has always been a favorite of mine. And I've got some elements from the Sunrays For Days collection here on my desk. I've got the stickers, and I've pulled a couple of the laser cut borders and just a few of my favorite papers. Now I'm going to work with this page as my background. This is from the Fast to Fab inspired paper pack. And I really encourage you, if you haven't normally used these papers a lot, I really encourage you to, because you can just do so much with them thanks to all the fun little prints that come on these pages. It's, as the name says, they're for Fast to Fab pages, but there's just so many creative ways that you can work with them as well. I'm just going to keep it fairly simple though. I've already got, you can see here, the grass lined printed edge on my page, and I just want to extend that just a little. So I've brought in the grass laser cut border strip, and on one side you can see it's pretty well the same color as what's printed on my page, but I'm actually going to flip it and have the darker green, and I want to just sit it just on the straighter top side of the printed edge, and it's just to extend our grass and to give a little bit of dimension to our page. So I'm just going to go ahead, and with my repositionable tape I'm just going to adhere this down into place to start with. Again, just making sure that we get it nice and straight. This is where I'm going to bring in my picket fence BMC, which will just slot into the housing bracket till it clicks. And I've just got some trusty old white cardstock here, and I just want to create a border strip from the white cardstock. Nothing fancy. Just going to lock that into that arm bracket, and I'm going to punch all the way along. Like so. And we've got some lovely confetti there that I can move out of the way. All right. So you can see there that it hasn't punched away from my cardstock. So I need to bring in my 12-inch trimmer. And I'm just going to trim just a few millimeters from the base of that last punch line. You can see there, to remove our picket fence. So I can get that out of the way. I'm going to align the bottom of the inside punch out here to the base of that green printed strip, like so. Which puts in a cute little fence. And I'm just going to come in with one of my border stickers. I love these little gingham diamonds. And I'm just going to lay that over the base of my picket fence. And we've very quickly and very easily created quite a fun little summery border along the base of our page. Now I can set this aside just for now, and I want to bring in my beautiful gingham paper. I'd really like to create a large flower that we can place a photo in on our page. So I'm going to bring in, this is the template guide that comes with our circle custom cutting system, and I'm just going to bring in one of my 6x4 photo templates. I've just made these from white cardstock. You can see I've labeled them, and I use these when I'm, you know, positioning where I think I want photos to go. I'm just going to use this template to see the width that I'd like to cut my photo for the center of the flower. And I think what I'm going to do, this is a great way just, you know, to measure out before you go cutting anything. I've got a 6x4 photo. I am going to cut it down a little, and I think I'm going to use the large circle, so this guy, and I think I'm going to use the green blade. So that just gives us an idea of, you know, size wise. Okay, so if the photo is going to be the green blade, I know that I can create a border with the red blade. So I'll bring my paper in and just align my template. I'll bring in my red cutting blade, and I'm just going to cut from the inside track with my red blade. That's going to give me the outer edge of our flower. I'm actually going to bring back in my white cardstock. So I haven't got my photos printed just yet that I'm going to use on this layout. As I said, this is very impromptu today. So I'm just going to cut a circle with the green blade on the inside track, and this will be basically what our photo will be. So the photo will be at the center of the flower, like so. We can set that aside. Going to bring back in my gingham paper, and we just need to create some petals for our little bloom. And I think what I'm going to do is use the smallest circle with the red blade and just cut a heap of circles from the inside track. And then what I'm going to do is then cut each of these circles in half as our petals. So I'm not quite sure how many I'm going to need. So let's go with 5. So you can always cut more. We don't want to waste our paper, especially when it's the gingham paper, the precious. All right. So I'm just going to, as neatly as I can, cut each circle in half, just with my little scissors. Doesn't have to be, you know, exact to the millimeter. Roughly in half, we'll say. Roughly in half. Near enough is good enough. Okay, the last little one. So let's bring in our trimmer board. Let's trim a strip 1/2 inch wide, and if we're going to make 2 flowers, 1 little strip should be enough. I'm just using all my little offcuts today. And I've got my 5-leaf punch here. This is one of my favorite punches. I love making flowers, and this is just a staple. I rarely have it put away for very long at all. So I always tend to work with odd numbers, but let's just see how we go. So I've got 3 leaves punched there. This is still available on the Creative Memories website. I'm going to link everything below this video so you'll be able to find things with ease. Let's just cut that in half. like I said, there's no concrete measurements here because this is all being created as I go along. So let's attach our flower stalk here. And we can put our, make sure I've got those lines straight with the gingham print. And I want it to sit up fairly high. You can adhere that into place. Like so. Let's say about there. Okay, so I'm going to come in now with my little petals. And we can adhere these going around the centre of our photo flower. Okay, so that has all of our really cute petals around our flower. So we can come in now and add our leaves. Just a little bit of repo tape. And when I need to lift up a piece of paper, I like to use my multi-purpose tool because it's really good for being able to just tuck in with that thin edge, tuck in underneath and lift things up out of the way as you need them. I've got one there. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? This is just me being picky on details. I'm actually going to remove the bottom bit of that leaf. I'm going to turn it into a 3-leaf punch. Just lift that up. That looks better. And I actually might do the same for this one. Nothing like changing your mind last minute. So I've just removed the bottom 2 petals from that punch. And I'm just going to use my tool to lift that just a little. So we can tuck that just in underneath the seam. Like so. Super cute. So now I think I want to create a second flower. Because 2 is better than 1, right? So again, I'm just going to bring in my templates to see what size I think I would like it. And I think I'm going to go with my medium-sized circle. And again, just with the red and green blades. But I'm not going to pop a photo in the middle of this flower. So I'm going to select a paper that I think I'd like to use for the middle. I was going to be really bold and choose a navy, but I think I'll stick with this nice beige tone. So I'll just lift that out of the way and just again the same process. I'm just going to, that's my medium circle, going to bring in my green blade and just cut the center like so. And then bring back in my gingham, and it's great because it looks as though I'm just going to use just this little offcut piece, which means I've still got a full sheet of my gingham left. So I always tend to get favourites like that, and I'll just I'll have an album full of gingham pages. But that's okay, that's what I like. So I've got 2 halves already there. Let's just see if we can get an idea. I don't like that center. I think I am going to do the darker center. Let's cut it and we'll just do a comparison. I know this is probably going to waste a little bit of paper, but I wasn't feeling it. It wasn't my jam. So let's try bold. Let's see. Yeah, I think I like that better because I think I'll add probably some little, like a little bumblebee to the center. Let's see, what do you guys think? We could go pastel or we can go bold. I can't make my mind up. No, I think I'm going to stick with the pedestal. All right, just wasting time now. So let's cut a few more of these circles. We're going to bring in our other little flower. Probably just sit about there. Or do we want that one? Yep, I think we're going to go dark. It will look good. Make sure I've got my lines all going the same way. Let's stick it there. And now I can layer the petals for this second bloom. So I can bring in my flower stalk here. I'll just trim that down a little bit. And we can add that to the base. Again, I'm just going to use my tool. Oh, that's come away, that's all right. Just use my tool just to lift that up where we need it to go. Like so, and we can stick our little, put a bit more on that. That's the beauty of repositionable tape. See, you can lift things out of the way and they will still go back down for you. Again, I'm just going to trim the bottom off the 5 punched element there. We might put one to that side, I think. We could layer, oh, I've got an idea. I've got a circle here. Every summer has a story. Oh, it fits perfectly. Oh, totally unplanned. All right, we'll stick some foam squares on that because we want to add some dimension to our page. So that's why I'm glad I went the darker center. I knew it. There we go. Every summer has a story. I love that. Perfect. All right, we should probably, I'm thinking I'm going to put another border at the top, but I'm not sure. But I want to talk photo sizes now. And as I just mentioned previously, I have a whole heap of templates. These are common sized sizes that I cut my photos down to. So I've got 6x4, I've got 3x4, 4x4, 5x3.5. And I've just cut these from white cardstock. And when I'm designing pages like this, it's good just to come in and you can position photos how you think you would like them to look on your page. And I'm already thinking that we're going to use 5x3.5. So this design will allow us to have 3 photos. We've got the one in the center of our flower, and then we can have 2 5" by 3.5 inch. There is a 6. Let's see what the 6x4. Oh, we could do a full size. That might look cool. All right, so if we're going to go 6x4 and 5x3.5. Now I need to decide on paper to use, and I think I'm going to use this darker paper that we put in the center of this flower as our photo mats, because it's going to carry that color through to our page. Now, I like the sizing as they are on my page, so that tells me I need to cut my photo mats to these sizes, and then my photos are going to be trimmed down just a wee bit smaller. So we'll lift that out of the way. Bring back in my beloved trimmer. So we need a 6x4 mat, so we'll cut that at 6 inches. 6x4, like so, and then we need a 5x3.5, so we'll cut that to 3.5. and then 5 inches wide. So that's got another 2 photo mats. Now again, as I said to you all, I haven't quite got my photos ready. So we'll cut some white cardstock just so that we can see what the frame effect is going to look like. So if I cut this frame or this mat, sorry, to 6 inches by 4 inches, that means I'm going to cut my photo to 5.75 inches by 3.75 inches. And that will effectively give us a really nice narrow width of frame around our photo. So 5.75 by 3.75. And then I can show you. So this will resemble my photo. And you can see that at that measurement just gives us a lovely frame around the photo. Like so. So our second photo, if this mat has been cut to 5 inches by 3.5, then we need to cut it to 4.75 by 3.25. So 4.75 by 3.25. I can bring this back in now. I'll get all my photo mats out of the way. They've served their purpose today. Okay, so again, it just gives us a lovely frame. This could be for spring or summer, I think, with your cute little flowers. And I think you could create this into a double page layout too, if you like. I think that would look really cool. So we've got that one in place. All right, so now it's just a matter of deciding if we want to use a border or not across the top. Not sure I like the watermelons up there. I've got my little cloud border, which might, the clouds blend into the background a little, but I think I do like that across the top. It's just nice and subtle. And then my photo can just overlap a little. Yes. Like so. I'm just keeping that really simple across the top. Yeah, that looks cool. Just so it's tucked in a little bit. Perfect. Okay, so really all that's left to do now is just to finish off with a few little extra embellishments. This is where I'm thinking I might bring my little bumblebee in. The bumblebee is also still available. Okay, so we've got a few little bumblebees. I might actually add, these are fun. These are the little deck chairs. We could add these down the bottom here. Again, just so that we've got a nice dimension, I'm going to do so with some foam adhesive squares, like so. Okay, so I feel like I needed to do a little more with my bumblebees. So what I've done, I've just punched a bumblebee from white cardstock, and I've brought in some hot fudge cardstock, just an offcut I have, and I'm just going to put the bee face down on the cardstock, and I'm actually just going to trace his little back area there. And because I've traced around the outside edge, I need to trim just this side of that marking, if that makes sense. So it'll be effectively a little bit smaller, and you're not going to see it once it's adhered in place. But we tip those flip those back over. You're not going to see any pencil lines. And we'll have just a little base for our bumblebee. I just thought the yellow was a bit too bright on its own. So that's just added a little sting there. And I know this probably seems like the most minor detail, but sometimes it's the little things that make the big difference. So I can pop our little sting there, a little back end on our bee. And I'm wondering, just for fun, this is where I start to get carried away. Bring in my white cardstock. I'll just turn it over again. I'm just going to trim around each wing. And we'll just see how that looks with giving our little bumblebee white wings. Now again, I've traced around the outside edge of the wings, so I know to cut just this side of my pencil line. It doesn't have to be perfect, it's just got to fit, which it does. And that just gives our little bumblebee a little bit more definition on our page. Okay, so I just want to add another little subtitle here to the base. I think I'm going to go Sunny Days and Green Grass together. So I finally decided on my photos and decided to get them printed out. So I'm just going to trim them down to the size that'll fit and work for those frames. So my 6x4 frame here, that I'm trimming down my photo to 5.75 by 3.75. So it's just that little bit that I've trimmed off that one. I can bring back in. I've already cut my photo for my flower and my smaller size, so I can pop this one into place. Circular photo in, and now I'm starting to think that maybe, just maybe, I want the center of that flower to be white. Let's just cut a scrap piece of cardstock and see. So I'll cut up that photo mat that I'd put in. Do I need to have the center of my flowers white so that the petals now stand out that little bit more? I think so. Which means I've wasted that little bit of my gingham paper. Tear that off. Again, this just showcases how wonderful that repositionable tape is. If you're someone like me that changes their mind 1,000 times, it's easy just to lift that up out of the way and go again. That looks so much better. Okay, I'm going to stop. I'm finally happy. I think it looks a lot better by just having that little bit of white edge showing for the center of our flowers with our gingham petals. Thank you so much for joining me today for this impromptu scrap with me video. I hope you've enjoyed seeing me bring this page together, and I hope that you give this a try for yourselves as well. I would love to see what you create. Don't forget, if you live in Australia and you would like any information about Creative Memories or the products that I've used in this video today, you will find the links below my video. But for now, I shall see you very soon. Take care. Bye.